What's up, everyone? You're listening to Navigating the Ivory Tower, a WPTS radio podcast. This is about what it's like for Black students who attend a predominantly white institution, aka a PWI. Today, we have a special guest, Jason Garland Jr., and today on this episode, we're going to be talking about what it's like facing Black masculinity and mental health. So first of all, thank you so much for being my guest on this show and for this topic. I know it's super important and something that it's just not really either talked about or it is briefly, and I feel like we just don't get to see that many in-depth conversations about that. So I was doing some research about the topic, and apparently in 2022, there's a study that was found that Black men specifically are more likely to have greater pressure when it comes to any type of physical, emotional feelings of having to be strong, whether it has to do with like sports or if it has to do with their own emotional well-being and health. So based on that, and this article was from The World in Black, would you personally say that you can relate to that experience, feeling like you have to be strong at all times? Or was that any messaging that you got just throughout your childhood or anything like that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it's a combo thing for like especially Black males, where it's like you have to on one side like just the general male of like stay strong, don't cry, keep it itself together, don't show emotion. And then there's the double side of just kind of being like a Black man. There's a sort of narrative around like the angry Black man or someone who is just like overly aggressive. So in order to sort of function in today's society, it requires like a certain in order to be ultimately successful, you have to kind of limit parts of yourself in various different environments in order to be considered like safe in those areas, which are kind of just turned into forms of like suppression, which often just kind of trickle down to kind of like either having to go on two sides where you either try to kill off all emotion or you kind of adopt these sort of like trends of like positive, like toxic positivity, where it's like there's nothing wrong, like things could be worse, and like you kind of repeat that to yourself over and over and over again until you can try to like merge the idea of like not having to feel anything. I feel like there's both kind of the same sides of the two coins, like same thing, two sides of the same coin of like hyper trying to not feel anything and trying to feel everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you say that within your friends or even like friend groups that you see with Black males, do you think that you have the space or can rely on your friends in that way? Like even just talk about like your emotions or if you're having a bad day or anything like that? Or do you think we're still in the culture of the idea of like Black men just don't talk about it? Or like you said, like it's just this toxic positivity where it's like it could be worse, or what do you see?
I'd say like kind of like any friendship, like really just depends on like who, like you everybody has like subcategories. They got they C, they B, they A friend group, and like the level of like how deep you get with those people is really dependent on how close you're willing to like teeter that line of like, hey, I'm not okay, like don't like try to sugarcoat it to me or don't try to like push me out of the film, just let me be there. And it's really just it really kind of sums down to like who you're surrounding yourself by, and often like what are you comfortable with sharing? Because a lot of times it's really just like a big, I would say, connection point to not feeling comfortable is the inability to be vulnerable with anyone.
Right.
Like vulnerability makes sense, like inherently, you're trying to protect your time, your energy, often your money sometimes too.
Right.
But it sort of like gets to a point where it's like if you have nobody to share those things with, that's when, you often get the crash out scenarios where people just like, there's nobody to share the emotions with. Everybody's only expressing the one form that is shown to be acceptable in certain like career pathways, the anger, the aggression, because that's the only one that can be like tethered to something that's like authentic, you could say. Yeah.
So would you say when it comes to dating and even looking at Black relationships, do you think that this toxic masculinity or even just like these emotions that a lot of men feel like they have to harbor just because of societal standards, do you think it affects those relationships?
Well, yeah, definitely. Well, it's more of like, it's not just Black men feeling the need to kind of hide emotions. It's that it's almost like expected to.
Right.
And because it is, for the lack of a better word, it's like uncommon for it to be shown, in like, of course, like the dating atmosphere, like when you're getting into these sort of relationships, when you're trying to see like what partnerships work out, the counter person is not used to it either.
Right.
So any like subtlety showings of vulnerability is often met with like like why are you like why are you like going over this so many times? Like why are you still talking? And it's like in and of itself, like that kind of like it shuts off everything.
Yeah. It's like I'm never sharing anything again. I'm done. Yeah.
Like you ever have like a story, you tell them somebody you're getting real excited and they're like, hey, can you like quiet down?
Yeah.
And it's like immediately you're just like, oh, I hate you.
Right. Like I'm never speaking again.
Like,
I'm never being vulnerable. I'm shut down.
So yeah, continue with the story. It's like, nah,
never mind.
Hey, we're gonna get someone to eat. It's like, I'm actually not hungry no more.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
No, and I feel like I've even experienced that in situations where either I've been vulnerable with someone or like telling them a story and like you said, like they just like immediately shut it down. Or they're like, my biggest thing is I feel like I get this a lot because I'm just a very expressive person. I get this a lot where it's like, you're too sensitive. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but that's just code for I'm emotionally intelligent and you aren't. So I don't know, because I feel like there's a difference between being like hypersensitive and then just like feeling your emotions or like even reacting to a situation like with your emotions. I think like you said, like it is commonly I feel like taught even within Black homes, which is justified, especially like as just a protection method to kind of like keep your guard up or make sure that, you know, you don't let people see your, I guess what they would call like weakness, even though it's not really a weakness, but I feel like it's just like passed down to think that. And it's hard. And I understand in a lot of situations, even like as like we both go to predominantly white institutions, sometimes when things happen like microaggressions or racism or whatever it is, sometimes, you know, we do have to like keep it together because, you know, then if we don't, then people call us aggressive and all those types of things. So it just snowballs. So I get the logic. I just think it's really hard to like move forward. Like you were talking about, like in relationships, whenever it's like, it takes two people to like be vulnerable, even if they don't want to. But when you have those like scarring experiences with people and you're like, I tried to be vulnerable once and it didn't work out and just thinking in your mind, like it's going to happen again. And even on that same topic, do you think that you've had experiences, whether it's friendships or romantic relationships where you felt like you opened up to someone and you were vulnerable in like any way and that was either rejected and that changed your perspective or even the opposite?
I would say, I'll say like kind of both. Like I've had like kind of both experiences, like where like I'll open up and just like things aren't like, I'll like, cause like, you know, there's a certain level of like, you have to keep up a certain character, like a persona when you go into the world. And it's not, like, it's not, there shouldn't be a negative connotation around it. It's just like you're all versions of yourself, but sometimes you just have to be different people to different people. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that.
Right.
But often it's like when you're introducing somebody to a different person that's also you, it's like there's a certain like ticking process of like they have to kind of rewire themselves to like understand this new person that they haven't seen before.
Right.
Which I understand, it's reasonable. It's like you're meeting a different like personality in and of itself. But like I've had those experiences where it's just like I'll like talk to you about something and it's just like I could tell like you either like you like, you know, common defense mechanism is like comedy. And it's like sure, it's funny, but like I know and you know where I was trying to go with this, but you didn't like the pressure feeling of like you feeling either obligated to have to feel with me in that emotion or also like address your own emotions. So you kind of like scapegoat yourself out of it, which is just like not everybody's ready for the conversation. So you can't really just push people into it.
Right.
So.
But it's also a good test, I feel like, in relationships to see, like, if you open up a little bit, kind of see how they react, whether it's, like, humor or they change the subject or if they say something dry, like, I don't know, like, type shit. Like, that's something that really irritates me is, like, whenever I say something that's, like, so vulnerable and they're just, like, type shit. And I'm like, what is that response? Like, I'm sorry, but, like, the nonchalant dreadhead response, I'm over it. Like, I just can't deal with it anymore. It's, like, actually traumatic. Like, I feel like anytime I hear it, I'm like, you're getting blocked immediately.
You just get the shakes, don't you?
Yes. Like, it's just like, oh, like, it's just,
like,
it takes you back to those moments. And it's terrible. And it's hard because then it makes you feel like you can't do that either again with that person or people in general. And like I was saying before, I think it's just a cycle that like people get caught up in. I've had the experience where maybe at first I could be vulnerable with someone and then maybe like after a few weeks or so they're just like, actually I don't want to hear about that. That's like too like emotional, or I feel like you're doing too much, or that's another one when they say you're doing too much. And it's like, I'm literally just telling you something. Like I don't like, just like, you know, that person can tell you something, whether it's like any type of emotion, happy, sad, anything in between. But I feel like there's just such a disconnect and everything with that, which is really sad. I don't know if you noticed that either. Just sometimes even if I understand sometimes in different moments, you may not have like the emotional space to like hold whatever's going on. Maybe someone's like pain or stress, but I feel like there's so many strategies, like, especially if it's like in a text message or something, I feel like you could just like, maybe wait later to respond or like think about what you want to say, or even in the moment be like, I'm also struggling too. So it's not just like you're pushing that person away, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, personally, like texting just doesn't do it for me. Like,
I agree.
I'm a naturally cautious person.
Yeah.
So I don't like there being like crazy. I know that I didn't want to do it.
No, I know what you mean though, because it's like you don't want like, let's say you like pour your heart out to someone and they take that screenshot. They're like, oh my gosh, like look what he said.
Hey, look at this nigga having feelings.
Yeah, exactly. And you're just like, oh my God. It's like I get so scared of that all the time because people are petty. Even if like you guys break up or something happens, it's scary if you have it in print and writing, whatever. Nah. So I agree. I'm very much a person where I like to have those conversations in person, over the phone, whatever. And I also get frustrated when I tell someone like, oh, I need to have this conversation in person. They're like, why? What's wrong? And it's like, why does something have to be wrong? Why can't I just like, this just be something we talk about in person? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
A mentor of mine told me, don't burn bridges if you can't walk on water. And I think about that all the time. It's like when I move, but I'm just realizing like not everybody else moves according to that plan.
Okay, yeah.
And it's like, I think, especially Pittsburgh, like you can tell it's a small world. Like if you know one person, you know 7 people. You know 7 people, you know 30. You know 30, you know 100. And it's just like it expands. Like you see on Instagram, you follow one person, like, man, how we got 42 mutuals?
That's crazy, yeah.
And how do I hate 8 of them? And it's like, damn, like, oh, are we gonna be chill or like,
right? Or even like, oh, did my friend talk to them first? Or like, there's just like a lot of things where it's just like, you don't want to like be accidentally messy, where it's like you just didn't know, or like what, or even know like the background, because it's like sometimes like even if you've been friends with someone for a long time, maybe they just like talk to that person freshman year and literally you guys weren't friends or something, but. It's complicated. I feel like in general, like dating is like just a vulnerable thing. Yeah. But I feel like especially in our generation with like technology, phones, people love to expose people, even if it's just exposing their vulnerability where it's like not that serious. But it's sad. And I feel like, especially for Black men, it's already hard enough for you guys to like be able to have those spaces to be vulnerable, let alone someone like taking advantage of that, and whether it's like posting it or like showing their friends and everything. Because I know even for me, like that's something like I personally wouldn't do, but I've seen like some of my friends do that. Even when they show me, I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, I just like, I sometimes try to check them. I'm like, that's not okay. Like, don't expose someone like that. Like, or I try to remind them like, that's good that like, he's being vulnerable, or that he's like sharing that with you. That means like he probably trusts you, or like, try to remind them that like, it's not weird. It should be more normalized.
But you see that interaction right there is how you get somebody's gonna be like, yo, type shit. Yeah. No, I feel it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, word.
That's their favorite one.
Word.
Yes.
Like that's
it's like a traumatic response.
It's a traumatic response because like you don't get like a type shit or word like, or like, nah, it's chill. Nah, don't worry about it. You don't get that. That's not something that's off rip. That's something that's built.
Yep.
That's something that's engineered.
Yeah.
And it's engineered when you say or something, you get like a ew, or you get like a I'm not.
Or you just gave me the ick or that.
Ooh.
That's a big one.
That's you send somebody to the shadow realm with that. Like they ain't never coming back.
Yeah.
You'd be lucky if you get a smile at that young man. I know some homies who I know some homies and some homegirls that ain't smiling about 6 months.
That's sad.
On some dangerous behaviors that happen, and now they just on just straight evil. I'm just like, hey, I check in with them every couple months. Like, hey, you good?
Yeah, it just gives Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Have you ever seen that movie before? It's like you've been hurt so bad. So like anytime you see like a man or a woman, you're just like, get away from me. And I've even been there before too. Like I remember this one time I went through this really bad breakup. It was horrible, very traumatic. And I think it was like either like a week after that happened, I was just like walking down the street and this guy came up to me. He was very nice. He was just like, oh, I just wanted to say you look beautiful, whatever. But I literally told him, I was like, get away from me. I feel really bad. However, I was not in the space to be dealing with no man, and maybe that was a little too much, but it felt justified in the moment because I was hurt, which I see it now. I see why I was like, that was a little too much because he looked really scared. He was like, I'm so sorry.
I'm just trying to imagine, like, because I know he there's no way he kept that silent. I know he texts the group chat me, is like, yo.
Oh my God, now I feel worse.
Am I like, is it me?
Right. Like, am I ugly or like whatever? And I feel bad because he was cute. Like, it wasn't like anything about him. It was just like what I was going through in that moment was like utterly horrible. And I was like, I just couldn't take another man, whether it was like looking at me, talking to me. I was like, yeah, they all gotta go. Like, absolutely. I just know the group chat was frying his shit. Like, yo, I just went up to somebody else, like, you're very beautiful, da da da. And she said, get away from me. I know, like, cause I know how niggas are. Like, they definitely clown the shit out of him, and they're gonna remind him every no. This is like added to his trauma.
Why do you, like I said, that type shit, that word that's built brick by brick, and it's built like when you share that, cause like the fact is like the homies ain't really gonna be on some like, man, I'm sorry about that, bro. Like, yo, get better luck next time, King. Right. They ain't gonna pull that. Why can't
they be like that though? Be supportive.
I mean, here's the thing: A, B, C groups right there.
Oh, okay.
And in between that A group section, like you already know, there's the A group section where it's just like all fun and games.
Yeah.
And you got the A section that's just like y'all talk maybe every 2 months.
Right.
But every 2 months, it's just something like it hits the heart.
Oh, okay.
But it's just like, you ain't sent, like, that's not your immediate, yeah. Like, you send that to the group chat, and it's like, they send the memes in the chat, too. They're like,
oh, wow. I have no idea.
Oh, yeah. No, like, that's the whole thing. Like, it's not just black men, but it's men in general. Like, we are our own accountability.
Yeah.
By a group set.
Y'all humble each other.
Oh, we humble each
why
other.
did I hear, it was actually from one of your friends. I thought this was kind of funny. He told me, he was like, I was going to get my hair like redone real soon. And then everyone kept swiping on my story saying, you need that reach was bad. And it was like his friends trying to like clock him. I was like, if any of my friends told me that, I think I would start crying and be like, oh my God.
Hold on. That's not a normal experience for you?
No.
Like,
I wish somebody would say that to
like,
me.
You never,
I'd be like, fix your face, fix everything. Like,
so like, you never like scenario, like your nails, they ain't where they supposed to be. Like you've been thinking about it for a little bit.
Right.
You never had a homegirl like be like, yo, you gonna handle that? You ain't never had that before?
No, I've had it, but like I don't like girls like that because girls like that too, like they take it too far. Like I would say guys, maybe they have like a good like regulation of it where it's like you could say something like that, like, oh, maybe like you need that retwist, whatever. But girls, they be like, what's going on with your hair? Like, what's going on with face? Like, it's like the way they say it. And I'm like, okay, you could have said it a lot of ways, but you didn't have to make me feel like I literally look like a troll. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just be doing too much with that. And I don't know. I'm not saying, like, if my friend was out here looking crazy, like, I wouldn't tell her. But I feel like it's, like, her prerogative. I'm like, girl, do what you want. Also, like, sometimes you be busy. Also, again, we go to a PWI. When, like, this hairstyle be, like, a month to 2 months in, the white people will still be like, oh my God, your hair looks so good, even though it's been like, a little too long.
On that topic, I get the most compliments when I'm like 5-6 weeks when I ain't had.
Yes,
it's never when it's fresh. It's never when it's fresh. It's always 6 some like odd weeks. I ain't get a cut in the minute. They're like, oh my gosh, your hair looks so nice. I'm like,
hello?
Now?
Right now, you didn't peep when I
where
got
were
it done?
Where were you? I got this retwist and I was on the story on the story with it.
Posting about it. None of y'all swiped up or liked it or said it. So
damn.
I don't know. I feel like it's just like the experience of a PWI. But I, like you were saying, I feel like your black friends are quick to check you, make sure you're on point. Which I feel like in a sense, like you said, it can be a good thing. Like making sure you're not looking crazy and everything. But I mean, does that stuff ever get to y'all? Like if one of your friends is like, fix your hair, fix whatever. Like, does it bother you at all when they say that stuff?
I mean, no. Like the thing is like. It's kind of just like, you have that set of people who are going to be a counsel. Like you need, I feel like every person, just in general, they just need a counsel. It could be 1, 2, it could be 5 people. Doesn't really matter the size, but you need that like starting 2 to 5 people who like can check you on whatever.
Right.
It's like, it don't matter. It could be the hair, it could be it could be like, yo, you acting crazy right now. Slow down. Like you need somebody who like.
Do they do that? because sometimes I'd be like, go get your mans because he's acting psychotic right now.
So here's the thing though, like that's the whole thing, men. Because we're like, it doesn't take 6 times for us to like be like talk to a bro and be like, yo, like stop that. No, stop that. No, stop that.
Yeah.
It's like once it's one, because like as men, it's just like once it's said, it's just like it's understood. It's like there's not like whenever they get to that point, it's like, one, I know where your meter is because I've been around you long enough. I know when you are over the edge.
Yeah.
All you need is that one correction, and you back down to square one. And it's like, I feel like that's really what the separate. Like, I'll be out like when I was abroad, whatever. Like I'll be hanging out with friends, like real close people.
Yeah.
And like they be having blast. let them have their thing. And it's like if you have that like that solid group of people, they'll check with you. They'll be like, yo, tap you on your chest. Yo, am I wilding? Am I wilding right now? And then you gotta be like,
yeah,
nah, you kind of wild right now. It's like, oh, tight. They back off.
Right.
They get back on their ding.
Well, what about whenever it comes to women? Like, do y'all check each other? Like, if your man is like doing too much, or you could tell a girl's getting uncomfortable. Like, are y'all like comfortable doing that, or is it more of a thing where you're like, it depends on the situation?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like don't. I mean, like, no game given away, but like keep your. If you were to like, if you haven't talked, if someone's talking to you right now, it's like one of you, and they got their friend group nearby. Like if you really want to check somebody, you just do a slight pan and look for the homeboy, because they giving signals on some like.
Right, like
they giving plays.
Okay, I never knew that. I never noticed that.
Yeah, no. Like sometimes somebody's on their solo shit, and it's like you don't know till you know that they acting wild.
Right.
But often, most times, if it's uncharted territories, like it's the first time everyone's speaking, there's somebody in the vicinity that's like playing ref right now. Like it's like figuring out like, are they in the pocket? Is this a place? Are both parties safe? And it's like as soon as they feel like you fucking up my situation by you fucking up your situation, it's gonna be like, yo, did you see this over here off to the left? Crazy. We should go over here.
Oh yeah.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, I mean.
That's kind of like how like I feel like with girls are like sometimes if I see a girl and I can tell she's uncomfortable, even if I don't know her, I'll come over and be like, oh my god, hi, like I've been looking for you, and I'll like take her and like we'll walk away because like especially I feel like as Black women, even out of PWI, like since there's so few of us, I feel like even if we don't know each other, we try to protect each other in those environments, especially if it's like outside of school, like something social, party, whatever it is, especially if we know that person either has like a creepy reputation or we've had our own experiences with that person, because I've even been there too where I saw something going on and I'm like, I need to pull her away. She doesn't know what she's getting herself into, or if they're like too intoxicated or something like that, I try to do that.
What's the levels of that? Like because mind you, I'm not a Pitt student.
Right.
Like I'm a Duquesne student.
Yeah, different vibe, right?
I be having like the friends who be but like how does that like, I want to know like from a female perspective, how does that evolve? Do you just get like into like that person like stay away from them? Like how does that occur?
That's a good question. I feel like since like I was saying, since the Black Pitt community, there's 8% of us, and obviously like if you
like percentage?
What'd you say?
You know the percentage? Okay,
yes, we've been talking about it a lot on my podcast. That's why like off the bat I know it. But obviously if you like cut that in half between like the women to men ratio, there's more women here than men. But since it's still small, it's almost like we all know each other. Even if like I'm not friends with you, I know who you are. Or, like maybe I've seen like who like you dated or your friend group. Even if I like am not close to you, it's just like we all see each other at events. You know what I'm saying? So. I think what happens is either if it's not like directly someone tells you like, oh, this man is creepy, I think usually you kind of can tell like maybe, for example, like maybe like someone was talking to this guy and then they're not talking anymore. Maybe when you see them in the room, like they're not like looking at each other, like, she leaves, or like, you can kind of tell that she's like visibly like physically uncomfortable in the room. And even there's actually apps, which is really nice, where you can like report like creepy behavior or like creepy men, which is great. So also that's another way for us to kind of have this avenue of like, hey, beware. And I think also it's one of those things where like news travels fast. Even if you're, like I said, even if you're not friends with that girl, like one of your friends will say, hey, did you hear about X, Y, and Z? And when you start hearing the same story about the same guy, you start being like, at this point, don't want to make any assumptions, but it has to kind of either be true or something has to like have merit with it. So I think that's how a lot of us use that network. And even like if you don't know 100% sure, I feel like if I see that person, let's say they like try to talk to me, I feel like I try to use my own observation and my own context clues. Like if I see they're being really creepy, or if they constantly go over to girls that are like completely intoxicated or like drunk and like, you know, try to leave with them and stuff like that. That's when I kind of like, it's like, you know, the red flag goes off and I'm like, okay, this is all kind of adding up. So I'm definitely not a person where like I try to have my own experiences with people. However, it's like I don't want to be that person where it's like I didn't believe some girl that, you know, keeps telling people he's creepy, stay away from him, he has this history of like, you know, disrespecting women or whatever it is. So that's kind of how our little network and chain works.
Yeah, nah. I'm gonna be real vulnerable. Drunk women are my greatest fear.
I mean, it's real.
I very like few like fears, but like drunk women just scare the shit out of me. 'Cause I'm just like, please don't get near me. I like, no.
Right. And I'm sure it's scarier even if it's like a drunk white woman.
I wanted you to be the one to say
yes.
it. I wanted you to be the one to say it.
Totally get
I couldn't say it out
Or,
loud.
You know what really bothers me? I forget what podcast episode, but I talked about this before. But whenever I've seen this all the time and it really scares me, is let's say like there's a couple and like there's a black guy, white girl, they're walking down the street or something, and like she's yelling really loud, whether she's just drunk or mad, and it's like people are looking, the white people are looking, you know, sometimes there's officers outside, especially if you're in the South Side, you know what I'm saying? They'll do that. Even the guy's like, you need to relax because like they're gonna misinterpret what's going on, even if you're just drunk or messing around, whatever. But I feel like sometimes like in those situations they're not very sensitive to like their partner's experience as a black man. And I feel like, you know, even as a black woman, like I try, even if I'm really upset at like the person I'm dating, I'm not gonna make this whole scene unless if it's like they're actually like hurting me or something like that. But if I'm just like angry or upset, I'm not gonna make a whole scene because I know that could put their life in danger. So I feel like that's just something that they're not very self-aware of.
No, 100%. That's like I needed you to be the one to say it.
Yeah,
but
I was wondering if you're thinking the same thing.
I just be having conscious as a nature of just like only being such a small percentage. You just kind of become friends with everybody because it's like there's a perk to be like, it's not a perk, but it's more just like kind of by being the only, it's like everybody wants to be seen close to you, right? In like a way, which is vibes, you know, like if you're good people, you know, like I ain't gonna complain.
Yeah, like I have white friends that I'm really close with, and I think a lot of them, I'm close with them because a lot of them are actually international students. They kind of get it in a sense of like knowing the feeling of being discriminated against, or like their parent, either them themselves being immigrants or their parents being immigrants or first generation. So I get it. It's like, you know, I think sometimes it can go above race. It's like the individual person or even their background, like you're saying.
Yeah. But it's just like no, I guess you kind of really summed it all up right there. It's just like, kind of by being the only and you being in these situations in the areas in these places, and it's just like I feel uncomfortable by the fact like that you think that this is okay in this public environment. You feel me? And it's just like, dude, are you like it be the point like I can't even check in on people. I was like, yo, you okay? I'm gonna stand over here,
right?
But like,
because then you don't want to get involved too. Like, another black man.
I can't let you get close. Like I really on some like. Off.
It's like, please back away. It's really hard in those situations to figure out what you can do. Do you think that ever affects like your mental health? I don't know if you've ever been in that particular situation or even seen it, or even just the idea of having to keep that in mind. Like, okay, let's say like a random, I don't know, drunk girl, like let's say, for example, it's like a drunk white girl comes up to you or something, and you're just trying to be like, okay, like, no, thank you.
Have you been reading my diary?
You know,
oh my
like,
gosh, this like top up there. It's like,
yes,
Lord, please,
it's so scary.
Oh, I that's why I just be trying to smile. I'd be like,
thank you, but no thank you. Have a great day.
You know, yeah, I definitely just gonna throw somebody else into the fire pit. Just like, yo, Kyle, come here real quick. Yo,
right.
Yo. You stand right here, and I'm just gonna look around it. I'm just gonna do this.
Right. Right. Like, gotta go. The Uber's coming. Some excuse.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
It's just terrifying thinking that we as black people have to think about these things.
But then you find those cool but it's like it takes a minute to find those cool sets.
It's hard to trust at first because you don't know what type of time they're going to be on. Or like they could be one way, like they could be like someone that's white, that's like, you know, really progressive, or just like they've been around a lot of black people and stuff. But it's like if they get drunk, maybe they won't be that way, or maybe they're just, you know, because like obviously when you're intoxicated, sometimes people get
you
like
hear that
really
speech
happy.
That they got that memoir that they got tucked in the corner. They just been waiting like. You get 4 beers deep and they're just like, you know what? I'm in to talk to you about something. So you know the no.
Yeah, they get real curious when they're drunk, and I'm like, why are you saying this to me? Why are you thinking these things?
I mean, we can go dark thoughts for dark thoughts, but like I'm gonna need to make sure like, is this a safe space to go dark thoughts for dark thoughts?
Right. And how dark are you gonna get? Because sometimes they be getting too comfortable, and I'm like, did you really just say that? Like. It's scary to me.
Somebody just got a little pop, you know, it's got pop. Like, hey, we back in it now, though. Like, right. We still good. Don't. Shh.
Right. We're gonna pretend like that didn't happen.
Stay here. We gonna run it back.
Yes, absolutely. So, do you think that you feel personally any pressure to uplift your community, whether it's just like, you know, the Black Duquesne community, your own community at home? What about your plant business?
Oh, okay. So
for sure.
9th grade year, I started a business called JG's Plant Nursery, where I would grow plants in a basement greenhouse that I built and then sell it around my school. It started there, then kind of expanded to like selling across the PA region. I got like a deal with a local nursery to like harbor my plants there for free, and then I got a grant from CMU for about $6,000, and I built these robots like to like farm and grow the plants for me.
How do you know how to do this, first of all? Like, how did you learn these skills?
Honestly, I just set out, like I kind of just set out on the goal. I've been blessed to kind of be around certain people. So like there's different programs, and to be fair, it's like if you're willing to take the shot, like there's somebody who's willing to sort of help out.
Right.
It's really just the initiative. Like one of my biggest skills is my kind of like drive, and if I'm not going to be basic bitch drive and just say that like every interview question, I was just like what's the word, like self-independent. I forget.
I know what you mean.
I'm trying to, but like I'm a self-starter to a certain degree. So like if I want to do something, I'm just going to do it.
Right.
And it's not really a blockade that's going to stop me from doing it. So like once I started one thing, started another thing. There was another arc where it's like I was doing like microgreens. Like I started selling these like products where like you can grow microgreens for them for a little bit.
Okay.
But I mean that was business number 7 maybe.
Wow.
Like I've been running businesses since I was 5. So like I started like quarter-operated canning machines, then built from quarter-operated canning machines to like lemonade stands, where merch lemonade stands with like hot dogs, burgers, stuff like that. So did 2 underground candy businesses, like undercutted my school market. Like when I was in like middle school, made a lot of money.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Yeah, it was so funny too, because I was real life on some like drug dealer time, and like because like what they would do, like they made it so easy too, because the school like only sold like the dieted
Cheetos, not the real deal.
Not the real deal. So I would like be making deals at the lockers at the bottom, like under the school's noses. I realized pretty early, like this is like 9th, not actually this was 7th, like 6th, 7th grade, 6th. Sorry.
I was wondering if you were gonna say that.
I couldn't hold it back.
Yeah.
But like this was an era where I realized like human psychology, and people lie from who like buy from who they like and everything. And, like, a lot of things are really a publicity game. So like I created fake tensions in markets in order to like stimulate buying. So like I had a friend who was like by another set of like the half of the school, and I gave him the products that I also was selling, and then like created price changes. I was really playing federal government, just like shifting prices, like making like I'll let people like kind of stir things up, like so and so, like let's say Ricky's selling it for this much, and I like Ricky, like I don't really like Jason, he's so, and then like I'll let people sort of like create the idea of like the market, and at the end of the day it's all me. And I was just like I realized how perception really can change pockets.
Okay.
Yeah. I know it sounds kind of wild, but like
no, but that's That's crazy because most people, when they were that young, they were just over here riding bikes, touching grass, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Touching grass is crazy.
I mean, at this point, actually, I'm not going to say touching grass. There's a lot of people that were inside, locked in with their PC, But, I mean, I think that's just, like, truly amazing because I feel like there's not that many people that have that drive, first of all, like, that young, too. I feel like that's something worth a lot of people that doesn't come until, like, maybe their teenage years or even like, their 20s and 30s or when they get to college, a lot of people are like, okay, it's like a fresh start from high school. It's more serious. But the fact that you've been doing this for a long time, which brings me actually to my next question. Do you ever feel burnout? Like, first of all, when it comes to all that you do and just even the responsibility that you carry, even just like as a young Black successful man and like what that means, even just like being in college and not really seeing a big representation of people that look like you at a PWI.
Yeah, definitely. I felt probably the highest level of it during my fall of my sophomore year in particular. Like I've been used to doing a lot.
Right.
Like my schedule, like I've been living off a Google Calendar since I was like 12. So it's just like
tool.
It's a great tool, fantastic tool. So like my schedule has never been like open, and something about like sophomore fall for me, I still mark it as probably like the hardest kind of like semester, like part of my like recent like journey, I would say.
Right.
Because I was on the exec board of Duquesne's Asset Management Group. We like manage like 1.4 million. Like there's like 30 people in the club, so I'm like having to keep up with that. I was on Entrepreneurship Council, like reviewing startups. I was in BS. I was an elective, like I was like finance chair for BSU. What else? I just started getting into Collegiate 100 stuff. I was taking 18 credits. Two of the hardest classes for my year, like intermediate accounting 1, among other courses. I was like I'm a part of my like I'm kind of covered for like school. Like I'm making money in some sense, like going to school right now. But like one of the scholarships that's helped me do that, it's called Spirit of Community, and it requires 700 hours of community service.
Wow.
And at that, like it's broken down in a way, but for that year, for that semester at least, I had to get 8 hours of community service like a week, and 18 credits, all that, you're already
I don't know
like
how you did that.
You're cutting it very close. There was a bunch of staff changes too, so like my hours would get mixed up, and like it would be like, hey, we don't have anybody to count you for these last 16, and it's like, oh.
Were you consistent with like, was it a repeating volunteer opportunity? What did you do?
So like it's a site. It's called Just Harvest, and I would just like go to that site basically every week, like because I had to make the 7 to 8 hour or like do whatever events they had me do, but because of the constant staff changes and like just like the very like disconnect, like it's nonprofit, so like not everything is like so streamlined. It would be like I was like dead contacting somebody for like 3-4 months, sitting my hour sheets and all my stuff, and I didn't learn until like that month, like the end of month 4, like, hey, that person no longer works here. None of that's valid.
Oh, that's insane. They should have someone else to be able to count that. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no. We had to like, I had to do like a little back and forth to like get that situated and make sure like I was straight to like, because if I don't meet the requirement, that's like some like 20-30 grand just disappears from my aid.
Wow.
And then another thing was like I was in another program called Access Distributed, which was like a very selective program. Like only like 30 or so people got chosen for it. Those had weekly calls from like 8 to 10 p.m. every Tuesday, and like I had to finish basically a certification, like a 12-hour certification every week for like the entire fall and spring semester. So like I'm like 0 time, and that was like I've been close, but like that was the first time like I truly had nothing, and like I had a big mental thing where I like really had to like kind of step back and like look at who I was. And that's kind of why the study of abroad stuff really came in clutch in terms of like recentering who I was, because at that period of time I was like I had to really like kind of like time back to like back mental health. It's just like, who am I doing this for?
Okay, yeah.
And for a good bit I couldn't tell you who, because I was like, am I doing this for family? Am I doing this for the community? Am I doing this for the admiration? Am I doing this for the publicity? Like, am I even doing this for myself anymore? Like,
right.
Because like at this point, like I've done enough to where like by any traditional standard, like I've done the things that life set out to do, like at least the things that the majority of people don't get a chance to do. I've got a chance to do it. So like, what am I still fighting for at this point? And
Right.
and I like had to like kind of come to terms like, what is it that I want, and is it okay that I don't want anything anymore? And does not wanting anything anymore mean that I'm going to become worthless?
Oh, okay. I'm wondering, do you struggle with perfectionism?
To a degree, yeah. It's less perfectionism. I've kind of I've accepted that I can't be perfect,
Right.
but like for me, it's like it's never been about being perfect. It's just been about doing something, and it's like I've
Right.
kind of become, you could say, addicted to the stress of like
Yeah.
always
Having
having
something
something,
to
like
do.
always having like there's something I have to do, there's a place I have to be, there's someone I have to talk to, and it's like
Right.
that kind of like addiction to stress has made me very successful. And it's like I had to learn that I can drop the addiction to being like having to have stress always on my mind and still be successful.
Right. There is a balance. And I think that's hard. A lot of Black people struggle with the idea of like balancing family, community, academic, social, all these different things, because I feel like we have like this high expectation for ourselves because we have to like defy all these things that are also going on in society, where it's like defying stereotypes, microaggressions. And then on top of that, if you don't go to an HBCU where like, of course, you see people around you just like you that are doing the same thing, it's like that constant struggle to feel validated in your spaces. I don't know if you feel like that. I know I spoke to a few students that were either in more STEM related programs like nursing or biology, and they felt like they constantly had to prove themselves because they didn't see a lot of people that looked like them, or people just naturally assumed, well, you probably didn't learn this in high school, or you're probably behind, and things like that. So I don't know if you've personally experienced that or felt like the need at points where you're like, maybe this is coming also from a place of like, this idea of like what the white man wants and stuff, is like, not wanting us to be like in these spaces or at these universities or these institutions. I don't know if that's something you've struggled with, but I know other students have.
I could see how that happens. For me personally, it wasn't like a deep experience, and I would say like if I'm being 3,000% honest, it's like I, in these beginning stages, like kind of allowed my ego to try to lead me. I'm like, I did this, I did that, like kind of like that's what's also like kind of stemmed from me kind of having to grow forward
Right.
into like being okay with being separated from the stress, because a part of identifying with the stress was subjecting my self-worth to my achievements and how big I could be. And because ultimately like this cycle of just trying to validate myself through finding those kind of like outlets, it's like anytime I slow down, it's like my mental health slowed down. So I'm like, because I'm not doing as much, or I slow down, it's like any break, it feels like I just confirmed that I'm nothing.
Okay.
And like I had to put myself in a sort of mindset to where it's like I cannot do something for a period of time, and even though like kind of like the human brain of like always trying to like look for what's next, that I can still like in those quiet times like appreciate what I've done.
Right.
And that's what's kind of like kept me on the even kilter. But I mean, like in the classrooms, like I didn't realize until I really looked around recently. I'm just like, it's just me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it's like I never like seen it like that. Like I don't know. It could just because like I went to like a all black like what's called charter school, like for like my middle school. So I had like kind of experience like outline where it's like everybody like is like this like high performing, like regionally high grades for the area. Like I had that experience. Then I had Kappa, which is like a performing arts school where I did visual arts, where it's like a blend, but predominantly white. Just kind of just like we're in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of
that's how the city, our city is. Yeah.
It's not a big deal. And then I'm like here, so it's like it's never been like a thing of comparisons, because I've been blessed to be around exceptional people like all the time.
Right.
So it's like race, money, like it's never been a defining factor for me, because like I've just been around enough people of all kinds that it's like never hit home for me. It's really just a matter of just like I'm just going to continue to work. I'm going to continue to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to get what I'm going to get. And it's just like kind of accepting just like that is what it is, and that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think sometimes you have to block out the noise. I know even in my background, I grew up in a predominantly white area. I went to white elementary schools, middle schools, and then high school. Similar story. I went to Lincoln Park, the other art school, which is in Beaver
Mm,
County, and it was predominantly white. But there were more Black people at that school compared to the school I went to before, South Fayette, which was great. So I feel like I got a lot of like exposure to like people that looked like me, and like you said, like people that were also high achieving and were getting a good education. And I think now that I'm in college, now that also I'm a junior, my perspective has changed
mm,
because I've been able to be involved more on my campus and join both predominantly Black spaces, spaces that are mixed with a bunch of people, and then spaces that are predominantly white, but then still succeed in like all of those avenues and all of those areas. And I think it helps whenever you just block out the noise. And even if you feel like, someone may not think that I'm valid or shouldn't be in this space, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's not even like, oh, proving someone wrong, but it's like, if you keep doing what you're doing, like someone's going to notice, someone's going to see, and it's going to take you places to be successful. So I know for me personally, I got to the point where I'm like, I don't care what people say, whether it's
exactly.
like, me having this podcast or me being on all these e-boards, whether someone likes me or not, at the end of the day, it's not going to change like how successful I am.
Yeah. I I said this in like interviews too. Like it's some kind of viewed as grotesque, but like I'll give the full frame to it.
Mm-hmm.
One of my biggest motivations for life is death. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've come to terms with just like everything is temporary, and that's a beautiful thing because it's
Right.
temporary. There's a certain level of appreciation you get to have
Mm-hmm.
because it's not forever. The
Right.
smiles aren't forever. The tears aren't forever. The anger isn't forever. They all have their kind of place in the sun at a given point in time, and because of that, trying to create or be someone for anyone else but yourself as like an entire existence, it's almost it's it's congruent to choosing to never take off the mask at any part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Certain times you need the mask. That's how you get by. That's how you move into society. Like you have to shield certain things, but it's almost like choosing to never drop grit, never drop your like character. Like,
Right.
and I feel like that in and of itself is a death of your own volition.
Mm.
So anytime that I do something, like I no longer think about it. I used to think about it all the time because like bullying and everything else from like like
Mm-hmm.
earlier ages. But it's like something about those kind of experiences, you kind of garner like tough skin of where it's just like I'm doing this because I want to do it, and I'm gonna win because I want to win. I'm gonna go about this how I say I'm gonna go about this because that's just how it is.
Right.
And it's like once you get that point, it's just like there's no person, there's no idea, there's no philosophy, group, body, nothing that can say like I'm not them.
Absolutely. Do you have any advice that you would give people either that are just going into college or even just Black men coming into spaces that are PWIs and just protecting your mental health? I know you mentioned going abroad and how that helped you. I know even
Mm-hmm.
for me personally, getting a Black female therapist really helped me, and also a
Mm-hmm.
therapist that is also part of my sorority really helped me just get through different struggles. So I didn't know if you just had any advice or things that you personally do to protect your mental health.
Find people that you can be quiet around.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth of the matter is, you're going to have to perform in some capacity to someone the majority of your life. Find those people. It could be a person, it could be persons that you don't have to be anything around. You could be silent, you could be talkative, you could be on your phone,
Mm-hmm.
you could be speaking. Like, you're not required to perform. It doesn't have to be, there's no like identification of like who they are. It could be anyone. And I just say like for people in general should have those people that you don't have to continuously entertain
Right.
because
That's exhausting.
it's exhausting to be an entertainment. And it's like, like when you get those calls like, hey, come out, do da da
Yeah,
da
come
da 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 da
outside.
da. And it's just like there's a level to where it's just like when you're ready, you're ready. But then there's a point
Mm-hmm.
where it's just like when you go into that environment what is expected of you.
Right.
And that in and of itself, especially like if you had a long day, could be very taxing on like on your mental.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. That's just how it is. Like everybody needs to recharge. Everybody's batteries are at different capacities, 100%. But if you're going to be alone for a period of time, understand that alone time is where you get to see who you are. And I urge you to try your best to move away from technology during this period of time, because in and of itself, like, the difference between you being in a hyper social setting and just being on your phone watching TikTok or Instagram are very much within the same grain. You're never giving your brain a break. And that means you're never really giving yourself a break. And that means even when if you take what you consider a break, something that you're highly processing a large group of information, and then you're using that as like the break to then process even larger amounts of information. Right. It's like you've really fucked yourself over in the most, like, I guess, apologies, but the most egregious form. You know what I mean?
No, I 100% agree with that. And I think a lot of people don't understand the difference between like taking an actual break and then just like doing things that are just like, even just like numb, and you just aren't thinking about, like you said, like scrolling on your phone and just not thinking about how that actually impacts you, and even just impacts like stuff that is important, like sleep. Even just if you're like scrolling on your phone for like hours and then like you need to go to bed and you can't sleep, and it's like because of the light and what you've been consuming and everything. But
get a journal.
Yep.
Get literally like don't. Like, ChatGPT is a great therapist when you need be.
Do you use ChatGPT as a therapist?
I mean, low key, I would just be like,
okay.
I just be like, hey, I'll dead type out like a certain thing, and I'm just like, what's your perspective on this? And then I'll just get his perspective.
Okay.
But like other times, like it's a really good thought experiment to just like shut everything down for like 30, 40 minutes even. You get a pencil, you get a notebook, or you can use your voice memos or whatever.
Right.
And just like write or type, like write everything out. Like write everything out with pen. And it's like a part of that practice could just be going through that emotion of like, hey, I really want to get back on my phone right now. Like I had a long day. I want to really dive in. I want to like feel happy for a little bit. Like I had a very sad day. And it's just like you get to like, when you write that out, you kind of explain why you ultimately figure out what the root of the problem is by explaining why you were looking for the relief.
Right. No, I agree. I know even for me personally, I do journal. I also, since my major was writing and publishing in high school, I did a lot of poetry.
Are you writing poetry?
Yes, I was a poet. I was actually the youth poet laureate of Allegheny County for like 2 years. So that was cool. I liked it. It was a good experience, but it does help me with my mental health even now, just taking some time, because I, like you am a very busy person. So I feel like I don't get as much time to like be in the quiet or be by myself, or like I'm at activities where there's a lot of people around. I'm a very social person, but like you said, it's important to like recharge and like understand that like, it's okay to be in a quiet space. Even personally, another mental health choice that I made is I live by myself. As much as I love my friends, I enjoy it so much. Yes. And I highly recommend that too for anyone listening, or like freshmen or incoming freshmen. Living by yourself at some point in college is a really great experience, because it gives you time to just come back to nothing, come back to quiet.
It's so worth the money.
Do you live by yourself, or do you live with other people?
I live by, like, I had a roommate the first year. It was all right. We definitely had like a little like period for a minute. But like it was like towards that last bit, like we really like we got closer because of that period. But now it's like, I went solo for my fall, and then I was abroad for my spring. And that I had to be I had my own like room, like my own bed and bathroom. We had a shared kitchen, and even that was draining.
Yeah, because people do not wipe off counters. People don't do their dishes. It's nasty.
Like I still remember, like, and it's just like one of my biggest pet peeves is passive aggression.
Me too.
I'm like, yeah, we're adults. If you if you're not cool with me, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with you not being cool with me. But don't why are we playing this game like we both like
it's very childish.
I could feel it in my chest, like I know you know that I know that
we're not cool,
we ain't
or
cool.
Like, yep.
And it's like I'm not the type to like grime over it, but just like, yo, make it crystal clear. I remember it was like we be in this group chat, and it would just be like, hey, like, guys, we got to make sure that we're cleaning up after ourselves. We got to make sure.
Just text that person.
And it's like, yo, just text that person. Why?
Because I'm getting anxiety thinking, like, you're talking about me. I just put my dishes away or whatever,
and it's like, I was Because my big thing when I went abroad is that I want to make sure that I get a chance to figure out who I am to a certain degree. Well, no, not to a certain degree. To figure out who I am. And that meant that I had to disconnect to anything that was familiar. So, like, by design, I made sure that I was, like, separate from all the other Duquesne students.
Okay.
And, like, I hung out with strictly locals or other study abroad students who, like, weren't at my school. Because, like, my goal was that, like, even though I don't know y'all, like, I know y'all and y'all kind of know me. I want to be in environments where it's just, like, it's just me. I'm being how I am, and I get to see how, like I truly interact with people. Like, am I truly this outgoing, or is this a reaction of me trying to be outgoing to get something And, like, come back to the roommate thing, it was, like, because they were all so tight-knit, it would just be, like, one of them says some passive-aggressive shit, and they all like the passive-aggressive shit, and since I'm the only one that's not in their group, I was like, did y'all craft the message just to say fuck me? Like, what do you say fuck me for?
Yeah, or, like, we could have just had this conversation like, hey, would you mind doing X, Y, or Z?
I rest my case. It is what it is. I still have a beautiful experience. I got some friends. I got to see some friends out in Germany and France.
That's amazing.
I got a whole new set of people that, like, I'm actually, like, mad cool with.
Right.
Yeah, so, like, I don't take back nothing. I needed that experience because then it reminded me, like, when I got back here and I got my own space again and I started doing my little art studio shit, I'm like, man, I'm looking out my window at the top of the balcony. I'm just like, I'm really that nigga right now. This feels spectacular right now. I'm feeling great. But, like, where.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad that was some great advice, especially when it comes to dealing with your mental health. But I just wanted to thank you so much for being on this episode of Navigating the Ivory Tower. And thank you, listeners, for listening to the first episode of the second season of Navigating the Ivory Tower. Once again, I'm your host, Jade Davis, and we had our guest, Jason Garland Jr. And this episode was produced by Tyler Stanley. And tune in next time to hear more about what it's like to be at a PWI.
Word. Nice seeing y'all. Have a nice night.